Hey guys, and welcome to my first ever YouTube video. My name is Silvana. So for today's video, I wasn't really sure what I wanted to film. I was hesitant. I either wanted to make like a recipe video or some makeup video or a vlog or something like that. But then I realized, hey, why not talk about that time you accidentally joined a cult? I wish I could say that that was clickbait, but it's not. The fact that I actually was part of a cult, and it was approximately around this time last year, so I think it's a very good time to talk about it, especially because I still remember most of the details. Sadly, I still remember all of it. I wish I could forget it, but I can't. So today's video is going to be talking about the time I almost joined a cult. Or no, about the time I joined a cult. So I wasn't planning originally on telling you guys the name of the organization, you know, using names of people and stuff, but then I was realizing if I were to watch a story time video about someone joining a cult, I would want to know all the juicy details. I would want to look things up left and right. You guys can literally look it up, cult, right after it, and you're going to be like, oh, why did you join after there was websites of stuff? I don't know why I did that. Anyway, the cult's name, or they don't call it a cult. The cult's name is ICOC, or International Churches of Christ. It is a Bible-based cult, except for they don't call it a cult. Although the only ever defense I heard of them having was against the term cult was them saying, technically anything is a cult that involves numerous people in a group like this. Okay, no, it's not exactly right, homegirl. No. And the fact that that's the women ministry leader who said that, that's the leader literally said that. The church or the cult leader said that. And I was like, so you don't even have a good argument to back yourself up and be like, well, we're not a cult because A, B, and C. No. They're just like, well, technically. They literally said, well, technically. Okay. I love their arguments. They're really strong. So let's talk about how I got in this mess. So it all started with my brother joining this cult. He joined this cult approximately, I think, February-ish of last year, so 2018. I joined until July. I had almost made it. I went off to college in August. I had almost made it, but I just had to be a little dumb crap, huh? Little dumb shit who joined the friggin'... So my brother was in the church, and he would always invite me and my mom to go to events, and that being like, I think there was like a woman's day or something, and there was a ton of, you know, Sunday service events that we were invited to, and we were always like, no, we're not interested, or at least I was more like, like, I understand if this is what you want to do. I didn't know it was a cult yet, and I still didn't want to go, so should have said something. So I think he finally convinced us to go, and we went. I think it was for his baptism. I like wanted to go to be supportive because it was his baptism, and I was like, well, I probably should go. So I went, and off the bat, I noticed that people were very weird. Like, I'm not even just saying that to be messed up. The people there were very strange. They were overly peppy, like overly nice, and I don't think there's anything wrong with being nice at all, but the way that they did it was almost creepy. They would talk to him, hi, how are you? Like, I'm so glad you came here. Do you want to give us your number? That way we can set up a Bible study. The first thing they asked me was if I wanted to give some strange woman my number, and I was like, I remember there were like those freaking flies that wouldn't leave you alone. There were like those people at the Macy's counters that just won't leave you alone, except for those people are actually normal people and not cult leaders, but you know. Anyway, so I went to his baptism, and that was that. And then occasionally I would go to Sunday service because he would want us to go. We would just go, you know, just for the service, and that was that. And honestly, the service, I'm not gonna lie, like, they're not that bad. Up until the third one, then that crap gets so redundant. They have the same jokes they tell every single time. They use the same terms every single time. Every single time, without a doubt, they always say, oh, I'm so fired up. Fired up is like pumped, I guess. I'm so fired up for God. Like, that's one of their go-to catchphrases. They're literally Buzz Lightyear, and you're pressing a button on them to say it over and over again. What else? There's so many terms I can't even think of right now. If I made a videos alone on just the terms they would use, this video would be 45 minutes long, so let's just move along. I think it was about July now. We fast forwarded. And I don't know what drugs I was on. Well, not any, because that's sinful. But I don't know what I was thinking. And I was like, you know what? Let's just set up a Bible study. So I set up a Bible study. And within 3 days, I was getting baptized. I did all of those. Okay, they had to do like, I think about 8 studies. There could be more, I could be wrong, but I remember the first one was called Seeking God. And that was just to get to know you, I guess. It's really weird the way they almost like examine you in a way. They set it up so that they ask questions within the study to kind of be very invasive. They get information out of you. I remember being in a study, not my own study, but someone else's study while I was away in college. And I noticed that the girl I was with leading the study, she kept on doing these same questions. I don't even remember exactly, but there was this one question she would use to get out of them if they had a boyfriend or not, because you can't have a boyfriend that's not inside the church. They have to be inside the church. You can't date anyone outside of the church. And that was her way of kind of getting that out of them. And there were so many different questions that they would use to obtain different answers, that instead of being so like, it's just pure manipulation is what it is. Like, it is completely, purely manipulation. They quit everything they do in their life, that being like jobs or school, to just devote themselves 100% to this church. If people do study or go to school still, almost, I can tell you, about 95% of them study in psychology. And that's mostly, I mean, I can't speak 100% because I'm not the mastermind behind this cult, but that is to manipulate people to get them to join this cult. How to work or read the human mind is just ridiculous the way they do it. And I feel like you really have to see it in motion to get at how creepy it is. So the obligations with this church weren't just like, you clocked in on Sunday service and that was about that. No, you had to go to Sunday service from like, 10 to 12. God forbid you ever miss a Sunday service. They will literally knock on your door. Yes, I wish I was exaggerating. I don't think I ever missed a service because I wasn't in there that long. Apart from that, I think on Sundays they would have family time. So you would go over to someone's house after service and just hang out and like pray and stuff like that. People would literally call you early in the morning to pray with you. Like at freaking 6 in the morning. You don't have to freaking pray first thing in the morning. Like, I understand if you're really, religious and stuff, but I was an 18-year-old girl. You really think I wanted to wake up at 6 in the morning to pray with some freaking stranger? No, I didn't. Apart from Sundays, every other Wednesday that you would have a midweek, which is either a men's or a woman's midweek, and that alone is just like a mini service, but just for the men. Or the next week it would be a mini service just for the women. Every Friday you had a Devo, or what was called a congregational devotional or something like that. No. It was just called a devotional. And it was like another service, but this was just for college students, but you had to go every single Friday. So, if you ever wanted to hang out with your friends, no, you can do that. Apart from this, obviously, you couldn't go out, you couldn't, I'm not saying like you should or anything, but you couldn't go out, you couldn't drink, you couldn't cuss, you couldn't do anything. Okay, that's like every Friday, Sunday, and then Wednesday, or every other Wednesday. But whenever you weren't at church, you had to go out and find studies every single week. I only did this like a few times on campus. You had to go out on campus, find people to study the Bible with you. And to this day, I see some of those people I talk to and ask them, and I feel so bad because they're just so awkward. And to them, I am known as the weird church girl that tried to freaking take them and make them join my cult. That is all I am to them, and that's so humiliating that people know me as that. Like, I hate that, and I can't believe I was okay with doing that, but I did it. After I got baptized, I was here for a month before I left college, and I had to go to the mall and share. You have no idea how many people I saw from school who I had to go up to and be like, hey, do you want to come to this like thing for our church? And they're like, no. And I was like, that's cool, I wouldn't either. So many people you had to go up to, and people were sometimes very awkward. Like, if this random crazy girl approaches you and is like, hi, do you want to come to our church? I don't blame you if you say no. if someone invites you to their house for a barbecue that you don't know, that's a little weird. That's very weird, actually. But nonetheless, I did it because, I was devoted to God. And it's just not even like devotion to God, it's just devotion to this weird ass cult. Like, you can be religious, you can believe in your things, but apparently, according to them, if you're not in this church, and I'm not even saying a Christian church, if you're not in this specific ICOC church, then to them, you're going to hell straight up. And they think they're so right. They think they're the only religion that's going to be saved. But isn't that every religion who thinks that? Every religion literally thinks they're the only religion that's going to be saved. But according to them, they're like, this is how you do it. They brainwash you to the max, thinking that what you're doing is so righteous and you're doing this right. And it's just crazy how much they can get to a person. And if I literally talked about every little thing they would do, you would probably never hear the end of this video. The females couldn't dress not even remotely provocative, like at all. You literally had to like freaking cover yourself up completely. You couldn't even wear like shorts. You had to wear like those longer ugly shorts that no one ever likes to wear, but you have to wear those. You can't go swim in a bathing suit. You have to put on an ugly ass t-shirt and some like long shorts and call it a day. You would notice females or some women wear some ugly ass little, sorry, I'm trying to not cuss. You would notice them wear some ugly little bun or hairdo, and the next week you would see 2 other females with that same hairstyle. And it's just so weird how much they try to copy each other. What one does, the other has to do. It's so weird. So I talked about how you have to attend every meeting. If you don't go, they'll literally go to your house, knock down, not really knock down your door, but they'll knock, they'll call, they'll like, it's almost like you're freaking being stalked by like 30 people or however big that church is, the one here in the valley. When I refer to valley, I mean like the Palm Springs area. It was like 30 something people. When I moved to LA, the church over there was huge. There was like over 100 people who I never even learned the names of, like more than 5 because there's just that many. Let's talk about the disciple life. So, every single person in this church was assigned a discipler, and that is who they go to for advice, who you go to every single week to confess your sin. So apart from the Sunday service, the Sunday family time, the Wednesday midweek, the Friday devotional, you had to find time to go and meet with your discipler and talk about what you've been struggling with. What have you done that's sinful? They'll show you passages, scriptures, do this and this and this and that, try to control you. If you ever have like a doubt or something, I know my friend, she's not in the church anymore, thank gosh, but she was actually one of the only normal people in the church that you like talk to and they're like normal people. But I think she had a Rolling Loud ticket and they literally told her to get rid of it. They don't believe in festivals. They don't believe in concerts because that's, very, very sinful. Oh my gosh, this lighting, I'm so sorry about it. This thing, the wind just, I'm sorry, hang in there. But yeah, my friend had to get rid of her Rolling Loud festival ticket. You gotta get advice on just about any topic, Get advice from your sisters, from people that have been disciples for longer than you. That's what they're called, by the way. People in this church, they're called disciples. Like the 12 disciples of God from the Bible. 12 disciples of God in a book written so many thousands of years ago. People, modern day, they're trying to be disciples too. They're trying to live their life according to the law. They always said this. They would always read the same scriptures to you over and over again to, get to you. They would make it seem like whatever they're doing is based off the Bible, and they don't interpret it according to them. They're just reading it as it is. But how do you think it works? You obviously read it and you interpret it one way or another. So when you say that you don't interpret it, it's just according, like you take it literally, you shouldn't always take everything 100% literally. These people are literally idiots. And I hate to say it, but they're so, the fact that some people have been in this church for like 10 plus years, like 15, I don't know how many years, like so, some people have been in this church for so long The fact they have lived their entire life being manipulated by some weird cult leader. You can't date anyone outside of the church. You can't do this. You can't dress the way you want. You can't do anything that you want to do without consulting someone else and making sure it's okay first. And then they'll be like, I'll think about it. Like, how wrong does that sound? And I can't believe I literally did this for like a month. 1 month of my life. But I guess I got a good story time out of it. The last thing I'm going to be talking about, if you guys have any questions, I will answer them because I feel like there's so much I'm forgetting. But, you know, for now, I'm just trying to keep it at a minimum. The financial obligations in this church are actually ridiculous. I know that, you know, you give money to a church, you know, whenever you can. I don't know actually if you do. I haven't gone to many churches, but I think you usually do. However, for this church, you would give a weekly contribution, and you know that had to remain the same every single week. If 1 week you're really broke, you have to do it. It's like, it's for the church, you know. Keep in mind, I didn't work at all. I didn't have a job. They expected me to get money from where exactly? And so I had to give that weekly contribution every single week. I had to raise up for conferences money, like conference money. You had to go to conferences. I remember I went to a conference in Anaheim. Let's just say we did it at the convention center on the same weekend that there was a convention for the freaking Power Rangers. That's how much of a joke this church is. There was literally a convention of the Power Rangers on the floor above it. Of Power Rangers. People dressed up like Power Rangers and they play fought. And we were in the same church. Or we were in the same convention. It was literally a dumb piece of crap. Anyway, we had to come up with money for the conferences. You know, it's not cheap. That ticket alone was like $200 and something. I didn't pay it, thankfully. My brother did, but still. That's a lot of money. I could have bought clothes with that money. I could have bought AirPods with that money. AirPods and a half. I could have bought like 2 AirPods with that money. Then you had to come up with missions. This is where they get you, man. So missions. I can't remember if there were 2 times a year or more. But I know for sure it was at least 2 times a year. They had to come up with a big sum of money and just give it to the church. It was to expand the church, to create more churches in different cities. In these missions, according to how much you would earn, you would have to give like a certain amount. But I didn't work, but I would still have to give a few $100s. I don't really remember. I never did, thankfully, because I wasn't in there long enough. But I know people in churches who have given like $2,000 to this church. I know people who give like $1,000. They go give like $700, $800, $900. Like 2 or 3 times a year. I don't remember how many times, but they give this sum of money without even questioning it to the church because that is how brainwashed they are. And that baffles me. I can't believe people actually do that. That's ridiculous. I'm so thankful that I was not in there for more than a few weeks because I don't know. I snapped out of it real quick when I was in Northridge and I realized I had no life. I was like, you know what? Maybe this ain't for me. I was in college. I realized it doesn't mean I'm gonna go out crazy, live the college life, but I knew that's not what I wanted to do. That's not the kind of life I wanted to live, to be in a cult being told what to do. That is a little chunk of how this church, church is. The people in this church are absolutely ridiculous. But yeah, if you ever hear about the ICOC, or they have so many college campuses, or they go to so many college campuses all around the freaking world. I wish I could just say United States. I think world. No, yeah. College campuses all around the world. If they ever come up to you, they invite you to a Bible study, say no. Just do yourself a favor and say no because you are about to join a cult. With that being said, this was my first YouTube video. I don't know how this is gonna be because I've tried to film this like twice, but I keep on messing up by like forgetting to mention things. But this was the story time about the time I joined a cult. So I really hope you guys enjoy this. Leave a comment if you guys have any input or any additional things you want to add. I don't know how many people of you guys have been attacked by this cult, but just let me know. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed it, even a little bit. If you did, make sure to subscribe. I am new to this whole thing. Bear with me. I will fix this lighting situation. Anyways, thank you so much. Bye. See you next time.